Sherman High School policy has taken a lead role away from a theater student who identifies as transgender male.
News 12's Erin Pellet spoke with family on how this rule is impacting their student.
Senior Max Hightower has been a member of Bearcat Theater all throughout high school.
He puts in the effort.
This hard work paid off when he landed the lead male role in the play Oklahoma about 2 weeks ago.
It was a beautiful day.
But the excitement was cut short. Just days later, the Sherman High School principal called his father, Philip Hightower, to tell him about a new policy.
Actors and actresses could only play a role that was the same gender they were assigned at birth,
stripping the lead role from Max.
I was devastated.
Hightower says his son previously played historically female supporting characters,
But they allowed Max to dress up as a male.
something Hightower says has been a part of theater since the start.
All kinds of actors have played all kinds of parts. I mean, I grew up watching Miss Doubtfire.
Hightower thought losing the role would crush his son.
I expected him to be crying, but no, Max is a fighter.
In a statement, the district says the whole show needs to be postponed because of sexual content and profanity, adding there is not a policy on how students are assigned to roles. But for this production, the gender of the roles as identified in the script will be used for casting. This may not apply to future productions. The Hightowers are now determined to get Max back into the role and keep Sherman Theater a safe space for all students.
I want every kid to be recognized, noticed, and allowed to be themselves.
The new date for the production will be around mid-January. In Sherman, Erin Pellet, News 12.
Top story tonight, a Sherman ISD gender rule caused one theater student who identifies as transgender male to lose his lead role in Sherman High School's upcoming musical, Oklahoma.
Now we're learning other students also lost their parts in the production. News 12's Erin Pellet spoke to two of them.
Clearly, they don't know the first thing about theater if this is an issue, because even back when Shakespeare was alive and doing plays, men would play the women roles.
Sophomores Natalie Ball and Ellis Winecuff say they are two of about 20 students to lose their roles.
There hasn't been any issues until now.
They say the Sherman High School principal told them for this show they can only play characters with genders matching their birth gender. Ellis and Natalie were both cast as males.
And everybody's just in the hallway sobbing, and somebody's like, "We're all cut from the show." And I just sort of collapsed to the floor.
I was extremely angry.
These two students were not seeking out male roles. They say before auditions, they consented to playing characters of the opposite gender on paper. They were then cast in male roles, adding there were not enough boys to fill all of the male characters. Ball says she's done this before, playing a male chef in a Sherman Middle School production.
It's never been an issue.
In a statement, the district says the show is being postponed until at least mid-January to review inappropriate content. The 80-year-old production has been performed by Sherman High School before.
I think maybe 2018.
This year, the students are not hopeful the show will hit the stage.
The school board, the school district has complete control over our theater program. Our hands are tied.
We'll continue to follow to see how and if Oklahoma plays out. In Sherman, Erin Pellet, News 12.
Monday, we were the first to report a Sherman High School transgender student had lost a lead theater role in an upcoming production of Oklahoma. And last night, we told you even more students lost their roles because of a new district rule that prevents students from playing roles of their opposite gender.
New tonight, News 12 has learned a Sherman School Board member has a history of protesting local LGBTQ events. News 12's Erin Pellet spoke with parents on how this and other factors may have led to the district's new gender rules.
Get out of Texas. You do not belong here.
Anna Wiley, a Sherman ISD Board of Trustees member, can be seen here, protesting at an off-campus Grace and Pride LGBTQ prom held in May.
She held a sign that said, "I don't know what you're confused about."
Sherman Theater parent Matthew Crove says he was at the event and witnessed Wiley in action.
So she was there probably about an hour.
Wiley was first elected in 2019, but because of recent actions, parents are questioning whether or not she is protecting their children.
There were multiple students from Sherman ISD at this event that she was protesting and a part of that yelling and sign holding.
I reached out to Wiley, but she declined to comment. Crove and some other parents who wished to remain anonymous also gave insight into what happened leading up to the gender rule. Auditions for Oklahoma happened at the end of August. Rehearsals began soon after. Parents say the male lead dropped out of the show about 2 weeks ago, leading to the understudy, Max Hightower, who identifies as a transgender male, filling the spot. But the district announced the new rule and the delay of the show shortly thereafter. Parents believe others complained about the new casting of this role,
which, by the way, did not exist. There was no rule prior to this posted, communicated at all.
I reached out to Sherman ISD for more insight on what led to the decision. The district promised to release an additional statement in the coming days. In Sherman, Erin Pellet, News 12.
There's new information on the Sherman School Board decision that caused 20 students, including a transgender student, to lose their roles in a school play.
This is a major reversal by the Sherman ISD Board of Trustees. A few weeks ago, the district announced a new rule where students could only play roles matching their birth gender for their upcoming musical, Oklahoma. Monday night, after more than 60 people voiced their opinions, board members met in a closed meeting with their attorney to discuss the theater program. Their decision: the show will go on with the original cast. The Sherman School Board unanimously agreed to allow students to perform Oklahoma as originally planned. The initial decision cost about 20 students to lose their roles, including Max Hightower, a transgender male. Then on Friday, the district agreed to cross-gender casting, but only for a more age-appropriate version of the musical that would be performed next year. But Monday night, trustees completely went back on that decision.
That being said, I'm going to go to a vote. All in favor of the motion presented by Wendy, do so by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. Thank you very much.
No word yet on when the production will take place. It was originally scheduled for December, but the district's policy changes pushed it to after mid-January. Another meeting with the board's attorney is scheduled for Friday at noon. News 12 will continue to follow this story.
Great to have you with us this evening. Last night, the Sherman School Board unanimously voted to reverse the district's recent decisions about the upcoming musical Oklahoma. The original cast will now perform the original version of the musical.
New tonight, a special school board meeting has been called Friday. And on the agenda, the superintendent's job and possible hiring of a special investigator into how that matter was handled. News 12's Erin Pellet has more.
I do truly believe the superintendent is a risk to our children's mental health and education. I think he is a dangerous man.
Philip Hightower, the father at the center of this whole controversy, is pleased with the reversal, but questions remain.
The board needs to take steps to investigate his openly blatant transphobia, bigotry, and most of all, his lies.
And in Friday's Sherman ISD Board of Trustees meeting, this will be discussed. According to the meeting agenda, in a closed session, the trustees and attorneys will further discuss the theater program and the administrators involved in recent decisions, specifically mentioning the high school principal, administration office, and the district's superintendent, Dr. Tyson Bennett. When the board returns to the open meeting, action about the duties of the superintendent may be taken, including possible administrative leave, which would lead to to the designation of an acting superintendent. The next and final item is possible action to hire a special investigator for the recent issues surrounding the theater program. Many parents, including Hightower, deeming the gender policy that has since been reversed a rogue superintendent decision.
This all stems from one person. It stems directly from Tyson Bennett, the superintendent.
We will be at Friday's meeting and let you know if any action is taken. In Sherman, Erin Pellet, News 12.
Former Sherman High School teacher, an employee, and current students are shedding light on alleged discrimination by the administration in past productions.
News 12 has learned this was not the first time there's been a dispute over a school musical. Erin Pellet explains.
I directed Oklahoma, Legally Blonde, Cinderella, and Singing in the Rain Jr.
In Monday night's Sherman School Board meeting, former Sherman High School choir director Anna Clarkson was among the 65 people who spoke.
When I directed Oklahoma at Sherman High in 2014, there was no question of my cast.
But Clarkson says she did receive pushback for the school's 2015 production of Legally Blonde from now Superintendent Dr. Tyson Bennett, who was an assistant at the time. She was excited to share the diverse cast with local news outlets,
Referencing to the gay and lesbian characters.
She said soon after the segments ran, she and her principal were called into a meeting with Dr. Bennett.
And asked me how in the world I thought it was appropriate to have lesbian and gay characters in a high school production.
Wow. She said Dr. Bennett wanted to cancel the show, devastating students.
We had costuming, we had our set, all ready to go. And then I just remember feeling this sort of uncertainty.
Clarkson said she reached out to the licensing company for permission to make Dr. Bennett's changes. They said no.
We could not make the lesbian character straight and cut out the gay character altogether.
So Legally Blonde, similar to this year's musical Oklahoma, took the Bearcat stage as originally cast.
It's not the first time It probably wasn't the first time when it happened in Legally Blonde as well.
I reached out to the district for comment, but they declined. In Sherman, Erin Pellet, News 12.
Top story tonight, a special Sherman School Board meeting was held today following the board's unanimous decision to reinstate the original version of the musical Oklahoma with the original cast.
News 12 was the first to report that due to a new gender rule, several high school students, including a transgender male, would lose their roles after administrators said students could not play parts other than their birth gender. News 12's Erin Pellet joins us in the studio with more on what happened today. Erin?
Yeah, Brenda and Jeff, it's been a two-week-long scramble for the Sherman School District. It started with students not being allowed to play a role other than their birth gender in the production of Oklahoma. Then SISD announced a different version of the musical would go on, with all parts to be recast. But when nearly 60 community members spoke Monday in opposition to recent decisions, the board reversed course and scheduled a special meeting that happened today. 2 changes came out of today's meeting. Aye. The board unanimously voted to remove Superintendent Dr. Tyson Bennett from overseeing fine arts until further notice, sparing his job. Trustees also decided to hire a third-party investigator to look into the theater program. Aye. Before action was taken on any of these items, 31 people took the stand for public comment, some supporting Dr. Bennett.
Get your pound of flesh somewhere else. Let's worry about our kids. Let's take care of our kids.
Many from local religious organizations.
We've taken God out of schools.
Some opposing him.
Tyson Bennett has harmed students.
And others pushing for an investigation into the theater issues.
Please hire an investigator to look into these incidences.
Philip Hightower, the father of the transgender male that sparked this controversy, said Friday's decisions are a step in the right direction.
Anytime I hear about a dangerous person being taken away from kids, that's great. I think it's a good start.
Hoping the investigation gives insight on what led up to these decisions.
And I hope that it leads to the removal of the superintendent and the staff certain staff that he involved in this.
The board appointed the district's chief academic officer to oversee fine arts in the meantime. Oklahoma is set to take the Bearcats stage after mid-January. News 12 will continue to follow this story.
Erin, thank you.